I like to think that I usually have a pretty good sense of what's going on in the world of 3D games in GameMaker, and usually when a game that fits the bill comes out, even if it's not something that I've been following super closely, I'm usually at least aware of its existence beforehand. That is not the case with what we're talking about today. So Mystic Kart Maker crossed my path a couple of hours ago. And in a nutshell, this looks like the sort of thing that would have made me lose my mind when I was about 12. So it's exactly what it sounds like. Vibrant Mode 7 kart racing maker game set in a fantasy world with an art style that harkens back to classic N64 games. This does appear to be listed as an early access project with more coming later. I will have a link to this project down in the description of the video if you'd like to go and have a look at it yourself. I don't actually know if it's considered normal to do like reverse disclosures here. This is not something that the developer like provided me a key for or anything. This is just something that I bought like 2 minutes ago. And I have since downloaded it, extracted the zip file, and we are going to double click on Mystic Kart Maker and see what it's all about. By the way, I noticed that this does not have an icon. This is still using the generic GameMaker icon. I don't know if there are plans to change that in the near future. I just think it's funny. So let's go and tell the Windows Smart Screen to go away. And we're going to start out here. Okay, so this is interesting. This is not what I was expected. I mean, I looked at the screenshots, but I couldn't really tell how track building was going to work. I kind of expected we were going to be seeing a bird's eye view of, like, a top-down track, but it appears instead that we actually, like, place track as we drive, or at least we can place track as we drive. If I click, I think is what's doing it. Let's see. So turning follows the mouse cursor. I was trying to use WASD to go, like, to steer. It appears that turning follows the mouse cursor. That's interesting. I wonder if I wanted to use, like, a, how do I, okay, so I can use the arrow keys to rotate down here. I find myself going on about this more and more often the older I get. Directions would be helpful, just on screen. At least the first time you run the game. Like, somewhere at the bottom of the screen, like left and right, click to paint the track or whatever. I think that was described in on the itch page over here, but all the same. Oh, right click is delete. That was going to be my next question. Oftentimes, I don't know if I would go as far to say always, but oftentimes if you have like left click to paint, you will have like right click be a an eraser tool. Okay. So after this, I'm wondering... Okay, so that shows and hides the palette. Is there any way that I can, like... Oops. Is there any way that I can, like, paint, like, a default, like, floor texture? Like, can I just fill, like, say, 100 by 100 region with just grass, and then, like, fill in track on top of that? I feel like that would be a, nice convenience factor here, but I don't see anything that looks like that. I hit escape and there isn't like an extra palette of tools or anything. I'm curious if I hit any other buttons. All right, shift to like hop. Tab just shows and hides that. Enter seems to double as the escape key. Control, Alt, space don't seem to bring up any additional tools. Okay. I am going to not make an enormous amount of, like, track here, but I am going to fill in some amount of space down here. And let's see. I think I'll go back and forth like one more time or two more times if you count this one. And we'll start with that. And we can I feel like at least in edit mode, the turning radius could be a little bit sharper because having to do kind of a wide loop just to paint part of the track is kind of weird. Let's see. I also am not completely sure if there are like different layers of terrain. It seems like when I went over the sand part of the track, it just overrode it, and it's not like there were layers here, and that could be kind of an issue if you like make a mistake. Let's see. I'd like to still... No, not that. Yes, thank you. I'd like to be able to, like, place things on the track now. Now that I think about it, I also, like, don't know how you actually start racing. Up or down switches categories of things that you can spawn. Okay, again, and I mean this is like by the author's own admission early access, so I'm not gonna like make as big of a deal out of this as I am in, for example, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. But some kind of indication as to what the actual controls are would be nice. So up and down, this track, course, scenery, interactions. I'm guessing. Okay, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do is first let me go and just put down some tracks. So here's some dirt, and nope, yes, dirt, and we're gonna go just like make a little loop here, and it's not gonna be very exact. But I can just go in a little circle. Let's pick off this bit of whatever that was over there because I apparently missed that with the eraser tool earlier. Should I be fancy? Let's have it cross over. Let's go like let's go do something like this. Let's make it cross over. All right, so we are totally just driving over like the driving over the water there. All right, course. So can I put down interesting. All right, this is possibly the most interesting thing I've seen so far. How is this gonna work? This looks like... Am I... It looks like I'm putting down waypoints. So if I put that there... Oh wait, is that the starting line? Is that not a... Maybe that looks like it might be the starting line. Alright, I realize, okay, this is like a checker pattern. Where do I want the starting line on this thing to be? Probably on one of the straights. Let me go and like, yeah. If I go here, I think we can do that. And is that gonna like erase the first track marker? It is, okay. How do I mark like waypoints on the track? I'm not seeing any other options under like track layout in the track layout toolbar. Interactions. So that's one of those. That's a boost pad. I know how those work. If we were to go like for example here, that's going to be a rather perilous corner if I were to actually put something down there. So I can put a few more on the straights here. Is that enough? I guess that's enough. We can put one more like back there if we'd like. And scenery, so this is a tree, that's another tree, and a stone. Are these billboarded sprites, or are they, like, actually modeled? Those appear to be... Can I make those bigger? Oh, scrolling the mouse wheel is also gonna allow me to change, like, palettes down here. Oh, are they just, like, randomly sized? I'm not sure what dictates the size. I feel like scrolling the mouse wheel dictates the size, but like scrolling the mouse wheel also just scrolls the palette, which seems a little weird. Let's try and not like dump all the trees on the track because that would also be a little weird. Let's see. Just gonna toss a few more. I have apparently clicked out of the game window. Gonna toss a few more here. And let's see. I think that's enough of that one tree. How do these... Alright, so that's definitely like a small tree. If I like scroll through this again, that made it bigger. I'm not sure how changing the size here works. Also, I started to point this out and then I got distracted by something else. These do appear billboarded, but it appears that they've been rendered from like 16 directions, and they rotate with the camera. However, I think they're actually rotating in the wrong direction, which is funny. I think to give the appearance of staying still, unless the fact that they're spinning when you turn is like an artistic choice. I think I think they're rotating in the wrong direction. All right, so enough of that. Let me go and toss down some of these rocks here. All right, boost pad. Don't know if I really wanted to go over that boost pad, but can I make the rocks a little bigger too? If I can scroll through. No. There we go. Seems like the rocks only come in like one size, and they're definitely doing the same thing too, like rotating in the wrong direction. Interesting. I'm not like the biggest fan of billboarding as an aesthetic, but I do like it when you not only have a single image that's billboarded, but like multiple angles of it. Even if it's just like 4 might not quite make the illusion work, but even if it's just like 8 of them, I think that could be fairly, especially at a distance. If you're doing like an extreme like LOD for a 3D object to an extreme level of detail, billboards or imposters, I think, really can go a long way. So let me go and save track. It's not giving me a dialogue to save. I did see in the downloads, there was a like saved. There was a tracks folder, and apparently this one is the one that actively got saved to, because this one was like the date modified on that file is like 60 seconds ago. I'm curious, how do I actually play this now? So again, resume, save track, load track, new track. That just reloaded this one from like our starting position. Okay, I don't know if, since this is early access, I don't know if this is something that's actually been implemented yet. It probably says something about that on the itch page, right? Starting a race is as easy as stalling for a moment before the finish line. Okay, that is a little weird. I definitely would prefer like a menu option there. Can we no? No. All right. Let me just stand here. How long is a moment? No, don't place that on the track. Yeah, let's get rid of that. All right, there we go. Let's see. I'm gonna start driving. I believe collisions are like a thing that exists. Now that I'm actually playing the game, we can go and, oh wow. All right. Definitely. So driving at speed, turning feels pretty good, and that's. I wasn't sure how that was gonna go, because that can be something that can be really like finicky to do in a racing game, is making turning actually feel good. If I drive into the water, is that gonna... Okay, it's not gonna, like, make me have to reset, like, get rescued by Lakitu or something, but it will... Interesting. It will, like... where was I going with that? I was trying to, like, go back to the finish line. It will, like, make you slow down. Alright, so I was hoping that I could, like, reset the race, but it doesn't seem that I am. I'm now curious, do I have to drive over all of the boost pads? Or if I just, like, do a wide loop. Okay, so there's no, as far as I can tell, there's no, like, track markers that you have to drive past. I was wondering for a moment if these boost pads, like, if you have to drive at least close to all of the boost pads to count as a lap. But it seems that that's not the case. This seems to be like a self-imposed, like, don't... Obviously, if you try to just, like, drive in a short circle around the finish line to get a low time, you're not really playing the game. That's kind of a... Yeah, I've got, like, a nonsense best time now, don't I? Mario Kart Wii, some of you may remember, ran into some issues with that, where I think at some point in history, like, every course had an ultra shortcut, by way of, like, some kind of, like, waypoint glitch discovered on it. And, it's not exactly a trivial task. to set it up like that, especially if you're trying to just like make the whole thing designable in game like this. Anyway, is there anything else for me to really look at here? I'd be interested in coming back to this in a couple of months and seeing what else has been added. I don't know what particular feedback the author is looking for right now. Obviously, there's stuff missing. I don't think I really have to point that out. I do think, like, starting time attack mode by just like loitering on the finish line is a little weird. I think I would definitely prefer just a button in the menu. I would also definitely prefer like some kind of instructions, like how to. And there's not much that needs explaining, obviously, but just like what exactly this palette is would be helpful. I get the feeling that we're trying to avoid having some kind of like complicated toolbar. There's something in the description somewhere about like you don't need like complicated level tooling to build stuff. So I think the goal here is to make this as simple as possible, but like all the same, having something that's like hit button to cycle elements would be helpful. Is there anything else? I mean, not really. I am curious to see where this goes in the future. This is admittedly not how I like to design levels. I do like to have an actual level editor and not have a super sort of like freehand, like the game is the level editor sort of design. But I also realize that a lot of people do like this kind of thing, and I'm curious to see how elaborate of courses people will be able to pull off using this thing, especially once a little bit more. Oh, okay. Especially once like a little bit more tooling is added, like different level features, different obstacles or like boundaries to the course or course waypoints, that kind of thing. I don't know if jumping is out of scope or not. Like I don't know if having a like a course overhang where you could like go up over a ramp or something is out of scope. I kind of get the feeling it is because the itch page was very clear about this being like mode 7 inspired, but who knows? We're not constrained to the like hardware limitations of Super Nintendo. We can do whatever we want in GameMaker, and that would be more of a purposeful design choice than a hard limitation. I'm also just like fascinated by these clouds. Are these like, I'm not exactly sure what these are. I'm not sure if this is just a repeating texture or if there's actual like an actual 3D geometry in the sky for clouds. I feel like it's just a repeating texture. If I turn around, the shading on the clouds seems to be like pretty uniform. Like it doesn't turn with me. Like I don't see the shading on the opposite side of the clouds from that angle as I do on that angle. So I think that's just a like a panorama texture of sorts. But
Hey,
let's get out of there. That's fun. Yes. Also these trees. It looks very silly when they turn in the opposite direction that they're supposed to. I don't care if Dream Mix, if you want to leave it like that. I just think it's really silly. It doesn't like ruin the experience for me or anything. It's just funny. All right. I think that's enough of this. I'm gonna stop because otherwise I'm gonna be here all night. I will be following this closely over the next weeks, months, who knows. I actually previously was following Dream Mix on itch, which is kind of how I was notified about this existing. And if this is the kind of thing that interests you, feel free to come on over and drop them a follow so that you too can be notified of future updates. Anyway, my name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and 3D games and GameMaker. If you want to see how stuff like this gets made, I have probably close to 100 videos about 3D games and GameMaker on this here YouTube channel at this point, so feel free to have a look at those. You should all go check out Wizard X and the Lost Hat, which is one of the games that I like to work on when I'm not doing YouTube stuff. Link to the Steam page can be found down below. I hope you all found this as fascinating as I do, and I will see you all later.
Time attack!
Special thanks to Zenjamin, Squarecrow, Spy Die Games, Pixelated Pope, Manta Ray, GameMaker, Game Art Indie, Edward Holt, DJ Gibbles, and Boketa for supporting these videos. If you want to contribute to the channel, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.